It's fun learning new skills, isn't it? I had a class a few years ago at Aramont with amazing instructor Beth Ireland, and I turned this padlock box. That was her idea, and I needed to carve these lines down on it, and I didn't have any wood turning tools, carving tools. So I borrowed this tool from her to carve these lines, and later I turned some chess sets where I had to do a little carving on the knights. And it got me thinking. I had this sun thing on the back porch that rusted, and I don't remember what was in the middle, but it fell out. And I thought, well, it'd be interesting to carve a sun on that. So I thought I'd turn a basic sun profile, which I did and glued up some pine. As an adult learner, most of us approach a new learning experience asking ourselves, what's in it for me? So you may be asking yourself, where's Mike going with this? Well, I'm starting a wood carving experience as an alternative to an alternative embellishment technique for my wood turning, besides just using texturing tools such as this. If this is something of interest to you, keep watching. Hit the like button and subscribe to help feed the YouTube algorithm to let it push this video out to other like-minded wood turners. Am I going to attempt to teach you how to wood carve in this video? No, this is not going to be like one of those YouTube videos where some redneck says, hold my beer and watch this. I'm just learning to carve, but I did want to share the start of my efforts at learning basic carving on this wall hanging sun project and what I'm learning. What's the difference between whittling and wood carving? Occasionally the terms are used interchangeably, but they're different arts. Whittling involves only the use of a knife, but carving employs the use of chisels, gouges, with or without a mallet, and often powered equipment such as lathes. But learning to use carving tools opens up another horizon for embellishing some wood turnings, including bowls with wide rims or platters. So it's something that I've wanted to do, but I really didn't know where to start. I didn't know what tools I needed. Didn't know how to use them. And a couple of years ago, I helped a widow of one of my fellow club members sell some of his tools, and he was also a wood carver, and I guess I was a little bit intimidated with this massive set of wood carving tools that he had, and it kind of put me off for a while. And then I ran across this carving by numbers approach to wood carving by master carver Mike Davies. I'll have a link in the description to this video on a number of wood carving resources, including carving and embellishing on your wood turning projects, such as bowls or platters. So I recently got this carving by numbers, I'd say kit. It's a set of carving tools that has these resources on it, some of which I'll have the links, as I mentioned, in the description below. So let's see what we got. It's a set of 12 carving tools that Mike Davies was involved in designing, because he has a little different teaching approach that he's been using for, many years. It's been perfected. So it's got a tool roll, and we're just going to go through how to use some of these tools as I work on this project. But one of the things I've realized with a little bit of research is the first thing I've got to do is I've got to sharpen them, because very few tools come out of the factory as sharp as they need to be for you to use them. So I'm looking forward to sharpening these tools and using them. They are made out of a vanadium alloy steel, so they should hold an edge real well, but very well suited for carving. They've got a real strong tang. They've got looks like strong handles out of beech that are secured with a robust tang, where you can either carve them by hand, or as I understand it, you can actually use a mallet for them for some of the carving techniques. They've got 12 different patterns. This is a full set of 12, but note that Record Power also sells a set of, I believe, 5 with the basic 5 set, and then they've got another set of 2 sets of 3, and then this is the full set that they throw in an extra tool, so it makes it quite a bargain to get started with this full set. One of the Record Power dealers in the U.S. is the Woodturning store. as a marketing affiliate, I get a commission for any sale that you purchase going through the affiliate link that I'll have in the video description area. As an adult learner, we tend to apply our personal life experiences to our learning process. Many years ago, when I was a Boy Scout, I did a lot of whittling because my thing back then was making a neckerchief slide every week. Since then, in my research, I found that they call neckerchief slides woogles, but I think they've tended to neckerchiefs and neckerchief slides have tended to go out of fashion in scouting. But what I did learn back then was I learned a little bit about grain. I learned the importance of a sharp tool, and I learned a little bit about first aid. As an adult learner and a wood turner, I believe you'll see some similarities between wood carving knowledges and wood turning knowledges, and I think being a wood turner can speed up your learning on wood carving because of some of those experiences. Let me review some of those with you. For example, tools need to be sharp to cut. If it's almost sharp, it'll almost cut. Without having a motorized assistance of a lathe to spin the wood for you, you've got to come up with a much sharper bevel, 20 to 30 degrees on a wood carving tool, as opposed to 40 to 60 degrees on a wood turning tool. Developing good sharpening technique is another similarity between the two of them, even though the techniques are going to be different. Wood carving tools, as with wood turning tools, as they come out of the box, they still need sharpening in order to be effective, because when they come out of the factory, they're not ready to be used. Another similarity is cutting with the grain whenever possible, and the importance of slicing as opposed to scraping. And then don't forget, lighting is important for carving as it is for wood turning, so make sure you got adequate light. Like chucking a bowl, you need to secure the piece you're going to be carving in a secure manner. I'm using this DIY banjo-mounted carving stand to hold the work securely. One of the things that I discovered is the optimum carving height is about the same as it is for wood turning. That is elbow height. So my DIY carving stand mounted in this banjo is a little bit high to be really comfortable if I'm doing a lot of carving. I discovered this squaring jig I used for squaring two pieces for flat work. With the addition of this board, makes a great bench hook to secure the work. Here's a simple technique I use for just clamping a small bowl into the cornering jigs with a clamp so I could carve it. If you have a wood vise, certainly you can clamp your bowl into in the vise like I did with a small practice bowl. Another similarity is the need for practice. Practicing small wood carving projects is similar to doing the practice you get with turning beads and coves for wood turning. I think practicing on small pieces is essential to work on your technique, using different techniques, kind of a sample board. Did one with foot, and what I found out was the approach I used before, using a coping saw, was actually faster and easier than cutting away all this waste by hand. Another technique, dyeing and cutting through it. What I've discovered in this process is I've got to keep practicing a little bit and perfect some skills before I can tackle a project as large and complicated as this sun, so I may put this one off for a while. One of the things Mike Davies teaches in his carving by numbers techniques are what he calls the significant six, and one of them is pinching the tool between your fingers, also using the fist position, something I never did in whittling, and also anchoring, always having the tool hand anchored to either the surface or your workpiece. Another one is the tapping technique, where you have your hand anchored, and it keeps pulling back with small taps like that. Tooling provided me with some cut-resistant gloves. As I mentioned earlier, I did some whittling as a Boy Scout 50 years ago, but it doesn't mean I have 50 years of wood carving experience. So I'd say take this with a grain of salt. But cut resistance gloves are inexpensive. They're also much better than shop gloves for carving, as they're more comfortable. They're flexible and they're cut resistance. When I did some whittling as a Boy Scout, I did have a number of finger cuts, and I think I mentioned I did have some experience with first aid. I would have avoided some of those had they had these back then. I thought it might be worthwhile mentioning these carving gloves in a carving video. Toolin also provides a variety of woodworking tools and accessories at relatively low prices compared to some of the high-end tools. For wood turners, they offer a very inexpensive set of carbide tools. I'll have a link in the video description below. If you're an experienced wood carver, I'd appreciate your comments on the use of carving gloves. So I hope I piqued your interest in wood carving as an embellishment technique on your wood turning, but rest assured my next video will be on wood turning. I hope you learned something in this video. If so, please leave it in the comments below. And remember, y'all stay safe and come on back, you hear?